right, let's do a quick touch on the victory of Donald Trump. November the 6th, he literally won the election, and it was quite quick. But I know there's a gentleman in America, I think he's a lecturer, that had predicted out of the last 10 elections, he had predicted that he had predicted correctly 9 results, just 1 miss. And he also predicted that, excuse me, Kamala Harris will win this time, but she did not win. But there's a gentleman also in Nigeria, he's a global affairs analyst, Mr. Magnus Onyibe, who had also predicted that Trump will win. So he's joining us via Zoom. Mr. Onyibe, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Good morning to you. Good morning to Nigerians. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so we're talking about predictions and winning. So let's do this as quickly as we can. What were the parameters you used to predict that Trump will win and eventually he won?
Yes, if you recall, there's a great thinker and expert in American democracy called Francis Fukuyama. In 2014, he wrote a book titled The Decay of Democracy, and that was a book that contained a prediction that at a point in time that democracy as we know it today would decay and there be a change. And people did not see it coming in the form that it has come. People, like the traditional ways. We are always traditional in our thinking. And when the things change, not even abruptly, this change has been coming. The change was on the horizon when Trump, came the first time. And the change has returned after being disrupted. So politics, democracy, the way we have always known it since the founding of America, is likely going to change with Trump. But, as natural human beings, we're always fear change. We're always afraid of change. So the evolution is not being taken lightly. They are not accepting it. A lot of people are not bemused by it. They are befuddled and they are griping and complaining and creating scaremongering scenarios. But, it may be the best for the world.
Okay, Mr. Onyibe, didn't answer my question. My question, which is primarily the reason why we're having this conversation, my question was, you predicted, correct me if I'm wrong, that you will win. What were the parameters you used?
I just told you. I gave you a guardrail. I started by talking about Francis Fukuyama, and I told you about the book he wrote about decay of democracy the way we know it. I told you that he said that there's going to be a change and that there's going to be a new order. And I've just told you that Trump represents that new order.
Ms. Onyibe, that doesn't sound enough like parameters to me. Maybe we're not getting ourselves correctly. Maybe you can help me out here. So I'm thinking that just hold on, sir. Because when we're talking about prediction, we talk about things we can measure, look at empirically to say because of this measurable parameters. So some people will say it's persecution, it's assassination attempt, Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris being a woman, the black vote. Because we've seen a few things that the white female voters actually voted for Trump when there was a lot of movement for Kamala Harris. Something we can hold on to is what I'm talking about.
Okay, those are I started from the granular. I'm a social scientist, so I look beyond the ephemeral and the headlines, which you're talking about. Yes, those are the final manifestations of what was predicted by this great thinker, all the way in 2014, that there's going to be a change. Yes, of course, in the United States of America, the people who voted for Trump, as I've always said, are people who did not wear their biases or what they were going to do on their sleeves for everybody to see, because the posters were asking questions, and based on the answers that they got, they were able to form their views that it was going to be a dead heat or Kamala was going to win. But the truth is that America remains a society where there's a lot of division, there's a lot of class issues, there's a lot of fear between different sects of people. The Caucasians, the blacks, the African Americans, and those around. And this whole thing eventually ended up being kitchen table issues, which is with respect to inflation, food affordability, and homes and stuff like that, and also being an immigration thing. The immigration virus is going around the world generally. As I wrote in my column last week, it is very clear that the world, people, human beings don't like strangers in their midst, especially when they suspect that they have come to take their jobs. And somebody like Trump kept emphasizing it, that Americans did not want illegal immigrants. People would like to refer to them as undocumented immigrants. From my point of view, a lot of Americans were behind him in that thought, but they were not expressing it because they wanted to be correct politically.
All right. Since we're talking about prediction, I want to piggyback on what occurred in 2020 when a section of the U.S. Republicans who are known to be evangelicals were also high on predictions, using the word more specifically now, prophecies that Donald Trump was going to win in 2020. And he, in fact, lost the election. But it appears as if there was only a delay of 4 years of their prophecy to, come to pass. I'd like you to speak to that, particularly to the contradiction of his victory as against what the person of Donald Trump himself represents. There's been a lot of criticism about him, eroding the democratic culture in America, about what his own kind of masculinity represents, toxicity, and a looking down of sorts on values of gender issues and all of that. I'd like you to speak to that contradiction.
Okay, you should take him first, Abibi. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Your point is taken, but the fact is that I decided not to look at things from those kind of base and banner point of view about what the evangelicals are saying, or about the feelings on the street, and about the biases expressed and propagated by the media. Like I said, there's no empire that lasts forever. There's no concept that stays there forever. Change is in the horizon. And, as far as I'm concerned, based on my study of the situation, Trump seems to be the change. Because think about it. Everything was thrown at Trump. Everything that is possible. They tried to impeach him, they failed. They tried to jail him, they failed. They tried to kill him, they failed. And he remained. The American people are the ones who voted for him, not aliens. They suspected that the Chinese were going to do something about it, or the Russians were going to tweak with the system. None of that happened. Even Biden himself, the Democratic Party people themselves have agreed that this was a fair election. He won fair and square. So this is the feelings of Americans. This is who Americans deserve or desire or sought to get as their president, based on what they understand about him. And if you recall, the people who really voted him are people in rural America, not much of city people. And also, I think he shocked a lot of people because the Hispanics also voted for him, and they were trying to skew the situation in such a way, that the Hispanics would go against him. Especially if you remember what they said about the Madison Square Garden campaign that he had. He wasn't the person who made the slur statement about Puerto Ricans, but he was now slanted to smear him, but unfortunately it didn't stick.
All right, I think the gentleman I was trying to remember was Alan Lichman. I must thank you so much.
Yes.
Mr. Magnus Onyibe, Global Affairs Analyst. We just need to have your take on this particular one. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you. I appreciate it.